Yes, everybody, we have signed somebody once again. It's going to be Mathys Tel, this time from Bayern Munich, and it's happened on transfer deadline day, just hours away from the end of the window. He said no to us the first time, but he said yes this time after a conversation with Ange Postecoglou. It's been broken by Florian Plettenberg, by the way, here, everybody. So let's take a look at maybe some of the breaking news, how this all sort of went down, and then, of course, we'll give our opinions on the deal and just some more details on it. But welcome to Tottenham Hotspur, Mathys Tel, everybody. It was broken, like I said, by the Bayern, maybe ITK journalist in Germany, Florian Plettenberg, and then also Fabrizio Romano. In case you're that sort of guy that needs the Fabrizio Romano approval, he tweeted a picture of him on his private jet flying over to London. And also, as well, Matt Law, the Daily Telegraph, said that they broadly agreed a deal to sign Mathys Tel on loan, although the exact structure of the deal is still to be finalized. That's where Dave and I are kind of a little bit confused as to how this will play out. Will this be a longer term actual permanent deal, could be around the 50 to 60 million mark in which we agreed terms on initially, or will it be just a loan deal knowing that Mathys Tel, right, might not even still be that sold on coming here. But Ange Postecoglou did speak to him. He said that at length earlier today, and and he was able to convince Mathys Tel to come to Tottenham. Ange Postecoglou, after speaking with him, he has a huge role played in the Spurs manager to get one of the most coveted youngsters in Europe over to Tottenham Hotspur. And then Alistair Gold said Spurs are expected to complete a deadline day move for Mathys Tel. Exact structure of the deal is still to be finalized. Could be a straight loan, but Tottenham would prefer a more permanent arrangement. Dave, I mean, that's, I guess, the struggle is we don't know whether this is going to be a
Yeah.
loan or whether this is going to be a permanent. That's what we know at the moment while recording this. And he is now currently touchdown in England.
Yeah, it's a hard one to know, Jack, because initially Matthias Tel rejected Tottenham's permanent move for him. But he did agree to join Manchester United on loan. However, Manchester United would not pay the loan fee that Bayern Munich were looking for, and that's why that one fell through, and that's why it's opened the door again for Tottenham Hotspur. And that's why I do think the fact that he's flying to London, Jack, I do think it will be a loan between now and the end of the season. I don't think it will be a permanent deal. I'll actually go with Fabrizio Romano on this one and trust his judgment, trust his instinct. Of course, from Tottenham's point of view, with him being a highly regarded talent around Europe, you would suppose that they want to secure his future. The last thing you want is him coming to the Premier League, and then all of a sudden you've opened up the market for everybody else to swoop in after he's shined. But we're in a needs must right now, right? We've got Udebur, Solanke, Timo Werner, Johnson all out on the sidelines. Postecoglou's been screaming for a forward player since December, and we finally brought one in here in the last
Mhm.
few hours of the transfer window. But because of all the reasons I stated, that's why I think it will be the loan jack without any option to buy.
I think it will also just be a loan without any option. More that's because of Mathys Tel. I think Mathys Tel
Yeah.
has clearly indicated that he's not that convinced. He has, of course, been convinced by Ange to come here, but it took some convincing and it took some time, right? Daniel Levy had a conversation with him. Plenty of people have been making it clear to him that Tottenham Hotspur do in fact want him. He is well wanted here at this club. It's just he doesn't necessarily seem to want us. Now that he's spoken to Ange, maybe he's starting to change his mind on things. I just feel like if you have a player like that coming through the door last minute as well, few hours away from the window, in my personal opinion, no reason to be splashing 50 to 60. If you want to be splashing 50 to 60, first of all, you want to know the guy actually wants to play for you. And then second of all, I think you need to know that he is the one that you want, right? Because the fact that we got rejected by Mathys Tel only to then be looking at other players and then coming back for him again here, it just screams of panic and it screams of desperation. Don't get me wrong, though. I am desperate as well. I am desperate for a forward at this stage. My standards, my bar, my expectations of what we could bring in have been severely, severely lowered each passing day that we haven't brought
Mm.
anybody in. Now that we're at the final hours away from the window, I'll pretty much just take anybody. But I still would caution that Spurs try to be a little bit clever about this and a bit smarter about this. No reason to make this guy come here permanently for 50 to 60 million. I think that'd be a big waste of money.
The thing is, I don't actually think Bayern Munich want to sell him.
Okay.
When they were negotiating with Man United were trying to slap up the fee to get him in permanently, and Bayern Munich said, no, we're only interested in a loan. The reason why I think they were willing to do a permanent deal with Tottenham is because they still owe us a hell of a lot of money for Harry Kane, and that would actually cancel out a lot of what they owe us, which means they can go into the market and being more active come the summer in terms of not having
Hmm.
to owe that money, which means it frees up finances for them to go and pursue other targets. So that's why Tottenham were in the hunt for this guy for a permanent deal.
Gotcha.
Now, another concern I also have, Jack, is what the fuck were Daniel Levy and Johan Lang doing out of Munich then? If Postecoglou
No.
had to get on the phone and convince this guy, it shows that neither of them can convince anyone to join Tottenham Hotspur, and that's why we're languishing around in the window late on, looking at opportunities to get them in. And the reality is, this one is going to appease most fans because our expectations on what to expect have been driven so low because of how we've actually conducted ourselves in this window. But the fact that Ange Postecoglou has had to get on the phone and he's the pulling power to Tottenham Hotspur, people have to understand this. He's been the pulling power. He was the pulling power for James Maddison, Vicario, all them other players. And apparently, just a bit of deeper analysis on it from Sky Sports, apparently they were saying that Postecoglou's basically gone into detail on how he's going to use Mathys Tel, how he's going to develop him, etc. And that's what actually convinced Mathys Tel to come to Tottenham. Daniel Levy and Johan Lang couldn't. And to be honest with you, it just puts even more egg on their face, the fact that they came back empty-handed and it took Postecoglou to get on the phone.
It is funny that Daniel Levy tries to go for that big swaggery type of big swoop in, to complete the final deal, sort of Logan Roy style in succession. And then this time, all he's come home with is a lederhosen and a few Pau Launer glasses, basically, Daniel Levy. And also, I would say, Dave, Daniel Levy, we already kind of don't take him that seriously when it comes to this stuff, right? We don't really expect him to be this, football guru, sort of football man, Graham Souness style, wheeling and dealing. But Johan Lange, that's who I think actually probably has a bit more egg on his face because he's the one who traveled with Daniel Levy. He's the director of football. He's the one who is actually supposed to be not only good at structuring the deals, that's where part of his job, it's part of his job requirement. But then also you would think he would have maybe a way to convince the player, this is what Ange wants to use you for. This is how we'll get you into the system. These are the type of minutes we're looking to give you. These are the games that we expect you to be able to play in, this type of thing. And if Johan Lange isn't even able to convince him, on the footballing side of things, what the hell is this guy good for? He
What is he
can't
getting
even
paid for?
what's that mean? He's not completing moves, he's not completing good financial deals for us, that might please Daniel Levy, but then he's also not there to convince the player. If Daniel Levy's there to do the financial side of things, that's what we know he loves for the deal. So what the hell is Johan Lange doing the whole time? Just driving him around or something like that? I don't really get it. I don't really get what that guy's been doing. You would think he would be able to not, of course, do it as well as Postecoglou does, because Postecoglou is his own man. He knows his system better than anybody. But you think Johan Lange at this stage would have some sort of speech that he can give to a player to try to convince a guy to come to Spurs.
Do you know, it wouldn't surprise me, Jack, if, by all means, the fact that Postecoglou's had to get on the phone and convince this guy actually sounds to me that, he's had meetings with Daniel Levy and Johan Lang this morning, Postecoglou, and said, right, what's on the agenda for today? We really need a forward player. Who's coming in? Oh, there's nobody. And that they've basically said to him, last ditch attempt, can you get on the phone to Mathys Tel and see if you can convince him? And Postecoglou deserves a hell of a lot of credit in this regard because it was made clear under Pochettino. These so-called managers that we hire are coming in as head coaches. This isn't in their job. This isn't in their remit. That's Johan Lang's and Daniel Levy's job. That was the whole idea by changing from a manager to a head coach, that they go out, they recruit the players, they bring them in here, and the manager basically trains them, sets them up in a formation, looks to develop them and hopefully win games. That's the whole aim of it. So Postecoglou deserves absolutely huge credit here for getting this one over the line. But Jack, that brings me on to then, is this guy good enough to have an impact between now and the end of the season? Because that's what we're signing him for. Yes, he's 19. Yes, he's a prospect. But we're assuming that, from our analysis, we think there's going to be no obligation to buy or option to buy. It's just going to be a straight loan between now and the summer. Do you believe he can have the impact? Because that's why he's coming in.
I think he is better potentially than a lot of the guys we already have, to pick from, the Timo Werners and whatnot of the world. But I'm not too sure about Mathys Tel. I think he's very, very talented. He's been kind of on people's radar as a very talented player for a while now. But it's kind of like that's what we've been saying this whole time. It's not like there's really a whole lot there's not really a whole lot of evidence other than, just talent really with this guy. He came from Run, or Stad Run, then he went to the likes of to Bayern Munich, but he didn't really play even a whole lot for Rennes. Like he was just kind of a young academy, kind of prospect at the time. Makes his big move to Bayern Munich, actually breaks into the team under Thomas Tuchel in some manner. Does actually quite well in the little cameos that he got under Tuchel, but then this season he's not really been given much of a chance, but also just clearly not favored by someone like
Mhm.
Vincent Kompany. And I just wonder, if this guy is maybe this is a good move for him, if he really needs playing time and he really needs to just sort of get his played time up and sort of get his face out there. But I'm just not sure if again, I'm really worried about this whole 50 to 60 million sort of fee and everything like that. I just don't know if he's really worth that much to us. He definitely would be a good addition to already a very lackluster forward line in my opinion, but I'm not in love with the deal, to be perfectly frank, Dave. But like I said, I would have taken anybody at this stage. We needed a forward. We needed something different. At least having a different name on the team sheet just to pick from, was going to be a big boost to us. So I'll take that. He's from the
Mm,
very, very, very hot, talented hotbed of those Parisian suburbs. We know like some of the best players in the world
mm,
are coming from over there. But like I said, Dave, for a long time now with Mathys Tel, all I've heard and all I've seen is just sort of talent conversations, but not really a whole lot about, what he's actually doing on the pitch. And that's
mm.
not really his own fault. That's actually just he went to a big, big club where you're not going to get a lot of minutes. So I guess this is his shot to get those minutes, and we'll see what he's made of. I'm a little worried about the fact that he's not necessarily the conventional winger that you and I have been describing that we would like. The guy that is sort of going to just get down the byline, run out his man, put in crosses for the striker. He is a bit more of like in my opinion, kind of like a striker type winger mold, someone who does like to sort of cut inside, someone who does like to score goals, not necessarily someone who is going to be an unselfish creator down the flank, for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
So that's my other worry about this move. But it's a new forward, and we did need a new forward.
No, 100%. Look, it was clear and obvious we've needed a new forward. Me and you have been talking about it some time, despite everyone going on about the back line. We've said, look at the forward line. It's so lackluster. It really lacks quality. It lacks being able to sustain the ball in the final third for periods of time. It lacks putting constant pressure or good constant service into the striker. It lacks all of them things. And when we do get chances, we never take them in the right opportunities and the right moments when they present themselves when we can go ahead in games. And with all that being said, I weigh it up and look at Matthias Tal. Does he have everything we need to answer them problems? And I'll be brutally honest, I don't think so. I think he's probably got half of what we need. I struggle to see how he's going to solve the winger crisis. When we're looking at guys, like you said, to beat their man, put good crosses into the box or across the box, not sure Matthias Tal is that guy. And, is he going to take the chances that come his way consistently? I'm not quite so sure either, and this is why I'm worried. Are we going into the realms of making the same mistakes we did in the summer, where we brought in a load of prospects and no one in here for the here and now to be able to come and impact what we're trying to do right now? And look, Archie Gray, Bergvall, people like that, they've stepped up well. They haven't really impacted what we're doing, if you know what I mean, in terms of stepping in and really driving us forward, being that catalyst, driving us forward. And that's the sort of signing that we need, that pick-me-up signing. I'm just not sure Matthias Tel is that guy, and I am worried we're making the same mistakes again. But we're at the point in the window where beggars can't be choosers. We need someone. And if you look around at other possibilities that we could have got or what is
Yeah,
available today, you would maybe argue he's
yeah,
probably one of the hottest prospects you could actually bring into
yeah,
this football club. Now, look, by no means am I writing this guy off. I am more than okay to sit here and give this guy an
yeah,
opportunity like I've done every signing that Tottenham's made. However, that is just my feeling off the
yeah,
back of the summer, and I've been right to a certain extent. I just worry, are we making the same mistake? I hope not. I hope this guy could come in and have a major impact against Liverpool Thursday night. Just run the legs off. The major impact in the Europa League. Try and put points on the board on the Premier League. But it's a huge gamble and risk taken by Tottenham Hotspur, I feel.
he's a fresh face to the Tottenham Hotspur forward line and a desperately needed fresh face. But yeah, Dave and I were just giving our opinions on it. It's not maybe the move that necessarily we wanted, but we did need somebody. And like he said, at this point, which I sort of alluded to as well, my standards have sort of dropped. Beggars can't be choosers. We needed somebody, and Mathys Tel is a very, very talented player who has been needing an opportunity to get minutes on a regular basis. Now he has it, and we'll see if we can be the beneficiaries of that situation with him. So we'll
Do
see how it
you
goes.
Do you think the fact that he's so hungry for minutes, Jack, that he's coming here with a point to prove, really could actually help him light it up? Because ideally, what we need out of him is, if you go back to what Kulusevski done when he first arrived here in the January window between then and the end of the season, and the impact he had, do you think that might actually help him settle into this Tottenham side and really sort of kick on? The fact that he has that hunger and motivation behind him.
I think there is maybe something to that he is desperate to play. You know, he's made a big move to a huge club in Bayern Munich, and
Yeah,
I think you could get away with maybe just sort of relaxing, sort of just learning from Harry Kane, getting little minutes here and there, and just playing with a top club and not have to, you know, maybe exert yourself too much or have too much pressure on yourself or anything like that. You know, sometimes you'll see a few young, talented players sort of hang around, you know, maybe a very high level group of players just because they can learn off them, but then
yeah,
also they can kind of just come in when it suits them. They don't have to be rolled in, week out under that sort of pressure. That being
mm,
said, though, in order to become a top level footballer, you need to play on a regular basis at some
yeah,
point. You need to start playing week in, week out. And if he already wants to start doing that at 20 years of age, and also, like I said, if he got upset with the fact that Company isn't playing him that much, which is true, he's not playing him that much this season, and
yeah.
he just wants to go because of that, maybe that's a sign that there at least is a hungry player like you're alluding to in there, which is the type of player we want at Tottenham Hotspur.
Well, time will tell.
Yeah. Time will tell, baby. Everybody, smash the like button, please. Get into the comments, and we'll see you next time for plenty more content throughout the week. And maybe, who knows, another welcome to Tottenham signing sometime soon.
Hopefully.
But everybody, really appreciate all the support. See you next time. Welcome to Tottenham Hotspur. Mathys Tel.
Taste tell.